Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you today for this webinar on online filing of Form GSTR-7 on GST portal. This form is to be filled by tax deductors. The webinar will be of around 25 minutes and it will be in English. I begin this webinar with thanks to my team. So I want to thank Sateshwaran for organizing this webinar. Pankaj Arora Pankaj Arora and Rekha Tatawat in making this webinar, this PowerPoint presentation, and Sri Jagmal Singh for his support. I also want to thank technical support team led by Munish Verma, who has taken care of all the logistics. Further, I thank NEGD team led by Shilau Rao and Durabjeet for providing the platform on which we are conducting this webinar. So we will begin with the agenda of the session today. So the agenda is that we will first see the section and rules related to Form GSTR-7. Then we will see filing, what is needed for filing of Form GSTR-7 on GST portal. Then we will see how the credit which is deducted is available to the deductee. Then we will go through the screenshots for filing Form GSTR-7. So we will see in details how to fill Tile 3, Tile 4, then how to make amendments, preview and file it, and making payments or downloading the filled up form. So we will begin with section and rules related to Form GSTR-7. So the relevant section which is related to related to tax deduction at source is Section 51 of the CGST Act, which provides that the following entities, that is a department or establishment of the central or state government, a local authority, government agency, or such person as may be notified, are required to deduct TDS. So the amount which is deducted as tax shall be paid to the government by the deductor within 10 days from the end of the month. So supposing we are in the month of October 2018, then if we are deducted any tax in the month of October 2018, then I have to pay that amount to the government by 10th of November 2018. Then the deductor has to be furnished a certificate therein mentioning the contract value, rate of deduction, amount deducted and paid, etc. So this is the section 51. Then rule 66 of the GST rules governs the provisions. It says that Form GSTR-7 has to be furnished electronically. Then it also says that the details will be made available to the supplier in Part C of Form GSTR-2A and Form GSTR-4A on the common portal, for which a separate functionality is being developed because GSTR-2A has been deferred. We will see that later on. Then certificate referred in subsection 3 of section 51 will be made available to electronically on the basis of the action being taken by the supplier, and that will be that we will see in detail later on. So rule 66 talks about that a form has to be filled in Form GSTR-7 by the deductor, and it will be made available to the deductee. Then Form GSTR-7 is a return which is to be filed by the persons who deduct tax for making crediting payment to suppliers towards the inward supplies receipt. So if I am one of the categories which is mentioned in section 51, then I have to fill Forms GSTR-7. I have to deduct the tax at the time of making payment. It's a legal obligation to file Form GSTR-7 monthly. Then details has to be furnished under 3 major heads: central tax, state/UT tax, and integrated tax. Then I have to file correct and complete return within the stipulated time frame which is given. So this is the obligation which has been put on deductor by the government. Now we will see what is needed for filling Form GSTR-7 on GST portal. So as we are aware that Form GSTR-7 is to be filed by 10th of the day of the succeeding month, and this can be extended by the government via notification. Then it can be accessed on the GST portal post login in the returns dashboard. We are going to see this in details later on. The path is services to returns and to return dashboard. We will see how it translates into the portal. Then this details in section 3 and section 4 can be filed through offline mode also. We are not going to cover this in the webinar. We are going to cover this in another webinar later on. Then TDS liability can be discharged through electronic cash ledger only at the time of filing return. So while we are filing return, I can pay up my electronic cash, use my electronic cash ledger and pay up the liability that we are going to see in detail. And as per the provisions which are existing today, the person is not required to file TDS, uh, not required to file Form GSTR-7 if no TDS is deducted in the tax period. So in the month of November 2018, if there was no tax deducted by me, then I need not file Form GSTR-7 by 10th of December 2018. So this is what is provided in the law. For precondition is that I should be registered as tax deductor, then I should have a valid and active GST-IN. What we should be careful is that if I have to deduct tax as per section 51, then I need to register as tax deductor on the GST portal. Then my GST-IN should be valid. Then I should have a valid user ID and password. Then I should have a non-expired DSC or a active mobile number which is already provided so that I can sign it electronically. This provision we are going to see later. Then tax deductor has made payment or credited the amount to the supplier account. So that is also has to be done, that we are going to see in details while we will see the screenshots related to it. So this says that I can use PAN-based class 2 or class 3 DSC, or I can use electronic verification code, which is sent to my registered mobile number. So this mobile number is to be given while I fill up the part A of the registration application. So while I am filling the registration application part A, that registered mobile number phone should be available with me so that my OTP is authenticated while I file my Form GSTR-7. Then when I file my Form GSTR-7, then application reference number is generated. So this ARN comes when the Form GSTR-7 is successfully filed. Then this is also sent to my via an SMS to my registered mobile number or via an email to my email ID. So this is informed to me via SMS and email. Then I can preview GSTR-7 at various stages, which we are going to see just now. Then TDS credit to deductee, whatever tax is deducted, that is made available to the deductee. So deductee has to accept or reject the TDS details, which is auto-populated. So he cannot take any other action except for accepting it or rejecting it. Then taking action is mandatory for crediting the amount to the cash ledger. If the amount is accepted, that the amount goes to electronic cash ledger, and the deductee can use that amount for paying up his credit liability or tax liability. And if it is rejected by the deductee, if any TDS credit is rejected, then it auto-populates to table 4 of Form GSTR-7 of the deductor. Then deductor can amend those details in the next tax period, and post correction it will flow back to the correct concerned GST-IN or the supplier for accepting or rejecting it. This process will be repeated till TDS details are accepted by the counterparty. So basically the details are auto-populated, which is accepted. If it is accepted by the deductee, then the credit flows to the electronic cash ledger of the deductee. If he rejects it, it goes back to the deductor for making amendments. If he makes the amendment, it goes back to the deductee for exception and rejection. As you are aware, this will be made applicable from 1st of October 2018. Now we are going to see the screenshots for filing Form GSTR-7. So what we have to do is that we have to log in into the GST portal by using the login and password which is provided. So after logging in, I have to click on services. When I click on services, the returns comes and then return dashboard could be clicked. So this path that is which shows services to return dashboard implies that from services, I will go to returns and I will go to return dashboard. As I log in, then also I can access my return dashboard. So this kind of form which opens up, so I have to fill in my financial year. Currently I am using 2017-18 and I'm taking return filing period as March, but you have to take it as November later on. Then I have to click on search. Then all the returns which I am supposed to file will come in tiles below this. So since I am a TDS deductor, I have to only fill Form GSTR-7. So only one form is appearing here. Return for tax deducted at source GSTR-7. It is showing the due date as 10th April. Since I am filing return for the month of March 2017-18, so the due date is shown as 10th of April. So we have taken screenshots from the test environment. you will be filing it for the first time, you will have to select October over here, and the due date will be 10th of November. So I can click on prepare online or prepare offline. We are not going to discuss prepare offline in this webinar. We are going to have another webinar in which we are going to discuss about offline. Currently, what we will do is that we will click on prepare online and the next screen will open up. So that's how the details which comes up. If you see, there are four tiles which comes. One is the tile 3 details of tax deducted at source. Fourth is amendments to TDS details. So here you can see the value is 0. All the values in the tiles is 0. Then some of the two tiles are grayed. 5,6 payment of tax is grayed, and this tile is also grayed. So when we fill up tile number 3 and 4, this will come up and it will turn blue like this, and we can fill up the details then. So we will see these things later. Then I can click on back to file return, so it will take me to the previous screen. So, and then there is one more option here, that is preview draft GSTR-7. So I can click on this and preview it, or I can proceed to file. We are going to see this later. On the top of the van, you will see that my GSTI number will come, and the status of the return is shown as not filed, and the return period and financial year is shown along with the due date. So what we will do is that all details is known. So what we will do is that we will click on tile number 3. When we click on this, then the next tiles opens up. So we are going to see the filing of tile 3. We click on tile number 3. The data is 0 over here. The whole data over here is 0. When we fill up the details, it will populate here. So when we click on this tile number 3, then the next screen comes up. So it gives me two icons. It shows me if I want to add details or I want to go back. If I click on back to GSTR-7 tiles, then I will go back to the previous screen. But since I have to add details, so what I will do is that I will click on add. If I click on add, then the next screen comes to me. So the next screen tells me to fill in the GSTIN of the deductee. If you have seen carefully, my GSTIN is registered in with the state code 24, and the person who has supplied me the material is of state code 7. So I filled in this GSTI number. As soon as I fill his GSTI number, the receiver name is auto-populated. Then this is auto-populated by the system as soon as I fill the GSTIN of the deductee. Then I have to enter the amount which is paid to deductee, on which tax is deducted, and I fill in the integrated tax. Since my supplier is situated in a separate state, so I have to deduct the integrated tax. But if supplier is situated in the same state, this tile will become gray, and these two will become liable to fill in. As of now, 2% integrated tax is to be deducted, or 1% central tax, and 1% state tax has to be deducted. If supplier is in the same state, then these two tiles will appear. If supplier is in different state, then this tile will appear. So I have to enter the amount here and the tax which is deducted over here. Then if I click back button without saving it, then these details will not be saved. So what I have to do is that I have to fill in save button. So I have to click on save so that the data is saved. So I click on save button, I go back to the previous tiles, and the details which I have filled in will appear over here. Here, if you see, there are two buttons which are coming again. There is a blue button. If I click on blue button, it will take me to the previous tiles to make changes. But if I click on red button, then the details what I have filled in will be deleted. And I can click on add button to fill in more details, or I can click on back to GSTR-7 tiles and go back to the previous tile. Since this is only a demonstration, I will click on back to GSTR-7 tiles. So it will take me to the previous screen. If you see, since I have added one record, the record is showing as 1, and the amount which is the tax which has to be paid is shown as 2 lakh rupees. Total amount to be paid to deductee is also shown over here. So that's how we fill in tile number 3. We can add details also. Now we will see the filling of tile number 4. For filling the tile number 4, what we will do is that we will have to click on the tile. As we click on the tile, this form appears. So what is it showing is that what I can amend is not the data which I am filling in the current month, but what I can amend is the data which I have filled in the previous month. So I have to show the what financial year and which month of return I want to amend, and please enter the GSTI number. I have to give the GSTI number. and then I will click amend TDS details. As you would have noticed, for every GSTIN, I have to give one consolidated entry, and I need not enter GSTIN again and again. If I make 5 deductions again, one particular GSTIN, I have to make only one entry. So for uploaded by deductor, tile will open up here, and then I have to enter the financial year, month, and GSTIN, and amend TDS details will come. Then if you see the top row shows the original GSTIN of the deductee, original amount paid to deductee, and the original month. Now I can, here 3 tiles opens up. I can revise the GSTIN of deductee. I can revise the amount to be paid, or I can revise the integrated tax to be paid. So I will make the amendments. I will click on save. So to go back, I will not do simply back, otherwise data will not be saved. So if you see after that, again the proposed changes will appear. It will show that what the new revised amount is, and I can save. I can go back to the tiles. I can amend it again if I wish to, or I can delete it. So this data will be there. Or from here, I can click on amend TDS details to amend another tiles. If you see, there is another tile here rejected by deductee, which significance of which we will see later. So since I make amendment to one tiles, the details of it will appear over here, and the data has changed to 1, and the new details are coming up over here. So this completes the amendments to be taken. Amendments can be done again. I can amend another TDS detail by clicking on these tiles. Now taking action on the rejection by deductee, that which we have shown just now. When we click on this tile over here, this particular tile, then what will appear is this screenshot. This screen will appear. So this will show the details which is uploaded by deductor. Since I am taking action on the rejected by deductee, so there are 2 ways I can make amendments. Either I can do it by myself, I can upload it myself by making the changes, or I can reject by click on this what is already been rejected by deductee and then upload the details. So what I will do is that I will click on rejected by deductee, then this amount will appear. So I can click on this blue icon and make changes as I wish. So these details will come. I can revise the GST amount. I can revise the amount to be paid. I can revise the tax, and I can click save. So that will take me back to the thing that I have amended the details, and the same will appear in tile number 4. So we have to do 3 actions. One, we have to originally fill in all the details at the tax deducted at the source, which I have deducted in a particular month, say in the month of October 2018. And then I have to make amendments to TDS details. If I have done any amendment, I have to do any amendments for a month before October 2018, I will do it. And if any rejection has been made by my supplier, then I will also do the amendment in the correct month by clicking on this particular tile, which I have already seen. Since I have filled in the details, what I will do is that I will click on preview draft GSTR-7, so that whatever details I have filled in table 3 or table 4, I can download it and see it once. So it will come out like this. I can download it on my computer. I can take a print of it, and I can check and go back to make any changes if needed. If all details are correct, what I will do is that I will proceed to file and make payment. So what I will do is that I will click on proceed to file button over here. So I have seen the preview draft GSTR-7 and I found the details are correct. I will click on proceed to file. So as soon as I click on proceed to file, then my payment of tax, which was a gray tile earlier, will become blue, and a message will come. Proceed to file request has been received. Please check the status in some time. So this will come that you come back and see the status, or you can click on refresh button over here also. So this refresh button also can be clicked on. So as you know, this button payment of tax tile becomes blue. You can click on this, then the next screen opens up. So what this screen shows is that it shows you the amount of cash balance that you have with you. So it shows that how much integrated tax balance you have in the tax category, tax subcategory, how much integrated tax you have deposited in the interest subcategory. So this is the amount which is available to you for utilization. But the below table shows what is the amount tax which is payable by you. So as of now, in the current way, I have to pay an amount of 2040 rupees of integrated tax. So this is the amount which I have to pay. Then tax paid in cash is shown as 2040. So this is auto populated. The system gives some auto populated, which I can make the changes if I wish later on. But this is auto populated. Then interest amount is auto populated. Since I have sufficient amount in my tax balance, and if I have sufficient amount in interest balance, so these amounts are auto populated. I can click on preview draft GSTR-7 and review the details, or I can proceed to file GSTR-7. But what we'll see is that the case, supposing I don't have enough balance over here, what will happen? So what I will have to do is that I will have to create a challan. So if you see at the bottom here, create challan button comes. So directly what I can do is that I can click on this style, create challan button, then a challan will be created. So it will show me the amount which I have to pay. So it is showing that I have to pay an amount of 5,000 fees, as I have no amount in fees, and I have to pay 5,000 as CGST fee, SGST fees also. So there are modes which are shown also here. I can do it by e-payment, I can do over the counter, and NEFT RTGS I can do. So over the counter is not restricted to government authorities. They can go over the counter and make any amount of payment. Then after this, I have seen the challan and it is correct. These details are auto-populated. I can generate challan. It is necessary that a challan is generated because CPIN will go to the banks. So if you see challan is successfully generated, CPIN is there, challan generation date is there, then challan expiry date is also shown, then the details as I have filled in is also shown. It also shows the mode of e-payment that I have selected. I can go and make the payment. We are not going to see these details further. You can see the payment in the help section to see what details you needed. So after I have made the payments, I will come back to here. I can click on preview draft GSTR-7 and preview the details which is coming. So it is showing me how much amount I am making as a payment of tax, then how late fee, etc. is being paid. You can preview it, download it, take a print and review. And after that, what you have to do is that you can click on this on the declaration and click the name of the authorized signatory who is filing this particular form, and then click file GSTR-7. On clicking file GSTR-7, a warning message comes to me. What is asking me is that you are agreeing to offset your tax, interest and late fee as indicated. So it is showing me that whatever tax you are showing, you have agreed to offset it. It is further saying that these amounts will be deducted from electronic cash ledger and liability will be reduced. One of these entries are made, these cannot be reversed. Once so you make these entries cannot be reversed. So you want to continue or not? Obviously, I will click yes because I want to continue. So the warning message is that all my liabilities will be offsetted and my electronic cash ledger will be debited, and these entry will not be reversed. After that, the option comes whether I want to file with DSC or I want to submit with EVC. I choose the EVC option, so OTP comes to my registered mobile number and it goes to my email also. I will enter the OTP and validate OTP. On validating of OTP, the return is filed. If you see, the status of the return changes to filed and an ARN is generated. The message comes in a green box over here, and then I can click on back button to go back. So this is the successful message which shows that the status of the return is filed, ARN number is given, and it is sent on my mail and sent via SMS also. So if you see, I can see the debit entries which I have made. So I can click on this tile since I have filed it. If you see, status is shown as filed. So I can click on 8 number debit entries in electronic cash ledger. So if I can click on that and see what debit entries has taken place. So if you see, the amount of tax was 2040. So that debit entries has been taken place along with the interest of 84 and late fee of 5,000. We have to file the return by 10th of the next month so that no late fees are levied on me. Then I can click on back to GSTR-7 tiles and go back. So I can download my file GSTR-7 return by clicking on download GSTR-7 file GSTR-7 button over here. Earlier it was showing preview. Now it is showing download. Since return is filed, it is showing as download. and I can download it and keep a copy for the records. So these are the social media channels of the GSTN. So we keep updates on Facebook and Twitter, and we will be uploading this video on the YouTube channel. If your friends want to watch it later, or you want to watch it later, you can watch it over here on the YouTube channel of GSTN. So in the end, we thank you for being here. I thank all my team members for supporting me. Thank you very much for listening. All the best. Thank you very much.